This is Samantha Jellison from Securely Insured, and this is Medicare on the Mind. Today we're going to take a closer look at supplements. Some people want to know what the difference between Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, all the way down to N can be, and I've got a diagram that should really help kind of explain the difference between them. So rather than write everything out in my not so neat handwriting, I'm going to share my diagram, and hopefully this will explain it a little better, and we're going to talk about it as I'm sharing. So here we go. Okay, so these are going to be your Medicare supplement plan options. Now, as you can see in the top right hand corner, a Plan A, which we've talked about, with one carrier is going to offer the same exact benefits as Plan A with another carrier. The most common plan today is Plan G, since it offers the most coverage. The main difference between each carrier's plans is going to be price. So, one more note I'd like to make here, even though it's included in this diagram, Plans F and C are no longer available to people who are new to Medicare on or after January 1st of 2020, as they no longer cover the Part B deductible. That was one great feature of those plans, but if you were not Medicare eligible before 2020, you are not eligible for those plans. Now, let's talk a little bit about what all the plans do offer. You are going to have your Part A hospital coinsurance, your hospice care coinsurance, your medical coinsurance, and medical preventative care coinsurance. And for Parts A and Part B, you get the first 3 pints of blood are covered. These are the basic benefits. Now, as you can see, with Plan K and Plan L, they do not cover these 100%. With Plan K, you are looking at a 50% cost share for your hospice care and coinsurance and medical coinsurance. Your first 3 pints are only covered at 50%, and on Plan L, each of those services is only covered at 75%. Now, going into the additional benefits, this is where the plans really make the biggest difference. So as you can see under Plan A, so that again could be Plan A from one carrier or Plan A from another carrier, there is no coverage for skilled nursing care coinsurance. Your Part A deductible is not covered. Your Part B deductible is not covered. Your Part B excess charges, and we will discuss that a little bit more in depth in just a moment, those are not covered. There is no foreign travel emergency fund to help if you were to go out of the country, and you don't have an out-of-pocket yearly limit, so you could potentially pay a lot of money for those additional benefits. Plan B doesn't really get much better, except that it does cover your Part B deductible of $257, which these are the amounts that are current for 2025. Because there's no more C available after 2020, we'll go into Plan D. Plan D only gets slightly better, where it does cover your Part A deductible of $1,676 and your Part B deductible of $257. And it covers only 80% of foreign travel emergency. These plans are not typically something, if you were working with a broker, that we would recommend, because they really don't provide the most comprehensive coverage for someone. Plan K and Plan L will also not be the most comprehensive of the plans. If it were something you wanted to explore, we could certainly do that as a broker. However, the plans that we typically focus more on are Plan Gs and Plan Ns because they do provide the more comprehensive coverage. You will get the better benefits with either of those plans. Now, with that being said, they do come with a higher cost per month because remember, your Medicare supplement plan is in addition to your Part B premium monthly, and you will also need a Part D prescription drug plan along with this. None of these plans will cover your prescription drugs. Going forward, talking about Plan G and Plan N. Both of these plans are the more comprehensive of the two, of all the plans. And one thing to note about a Plan G is that there is an option for a high deductible Plan G. It is usually cheaper than a regular Plan G. The one thing you'll need to know though is if you go with a high deductible Plan G, you are expected to pay $2,870 in medical costs before the plan begins to pay. That could work for people who do not expect to have a high cost medical year. If you're relatively healthy, if you typically don't utilize your plan as much, but you still want to have that protection of the better benefits, that could be a very affordable option. With Plan G versus Plan N, the one thing that you are going to see the biggest difference between is that Plan G and high deductible Plan G cover they have coverage for what they call Part B excess charges. So let's talk a little bit about what excess charges are. Excess charges are additional fees that a provider can charge beyond the Medicare approved amount, but only if they do not accept assignment. And what accepting assignment means is that the provider is accepting the assignment that the Medicare approved amount for a service is the full payment. So they can elect to not accept assignment. Medicare sets a standard fee for covered services, and if they decide that they don't want to accept that fee as full payment, then they can charge up to 15% more than the Medicare approved amount. And this means that you are responsible for that additional 15%. So when they accept assignment, they are billing Medicare. And if you have a Medicare supplement, the Medicare supplement picks up the additional cost that original Medicare does not pay. That's the purpose. It's a supplemental plan. However, as you can see, there are situations where you might see a provider who does not accept assignment. Therefore, if they bill you the additional 15% for some treatment or procedure that you received, that bill will be going to you if you were to be in any of these plans except for G. Plan G does cover that excess charges. So that's a really good thing to note. One other thing that I would like to briefly mention is that we are seeing more what we call transitional plans coming out from certain carriers, that if you were to start with a high deductible G and remain in the high deductible G plan for somewhere between 2 and 3 years, you may receive an option to upgrade that plan to a regular G without having to pay that $2,870 deductible before the plan pays. And you would usually get that regular G at a lower rate than what a regular G would cost initially going into it. So I hope that this has been a little bit more explanatory of how the individual plans, Plan A, B, D, G, K, L, M, N, how they all differ. And again, Plan A through one carrier is going to offer the exact same benefits that Plan B will cover. Plan A through another carrier will cover. It will just differ with cost. So shop around, work with somebody who understands these plans to get the best rate possible, because as we mentioned before, plans do increase year over year. So if you get locked into a plan, a premium that you find affordable now, in 3 to 4, maybe 5 years, it could grow to be very expensive depending on the carrier that you choose and if they have a volatile rate increase setup. So hopefully you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and stay tuned for our next episode of Medicare on the Mind. My name is Samantha Jellison, and I'm from Securely Insured LLC. Have a great day.